Melted pot? Explain. Melted pot? What the hell is melted pot? Explain, man. Explain. Welcome to the Melted Pot Podcast.
They say, don't use it, you lose it. Truth is, true shit. Scared of my power, I didn't do shit.
Welcome to the Melted Pot Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Gunn. Welcome back to the show as we get ready to talk about the MLB and the playoffs and the Wildcard game between the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. Just want to shout out those Yankees. They got the victory last night. And just think about this. There's a tremendous amount of pressure last night. A tremendous amount of pressure. It was very evident that there's a tremendous amount of pressure for Luis Severino. All right, the game, okay, just picture this place. It's going crazy. And you're young. It's the first time you've had to face a crowd like this in this atmosphere. It's the playoffs. Win or go home. One and done. Okay? That's the pressure that we're talking about. So the game immediately starts off, and he cannot control or command the zone. All right? And the guys were calling the game both ways pretty tight as far as the pitching goes. So, I mean, just think about if a small window, you're missing it. And he's used to getting calls. He's not getting them. It's the playoffs. This is like we're tightening up the ship so that nobody can have anything to blame it on tomorrow. That's the type of thing that was going on last night. All right? So this guy Dozier gets up first at bat, whack, hits a home run. Everybody, when they pan to the crowd, you got people with beers in their hand, hot dogs, and they're looking around going, did they just hit a home run? Yes, the game just started, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody's celebrating that we just got a wild card game. Let's go here. All right? So they let him in there a little bit longer. Girardi smelled him out a little bit. Wanted to see if the kid was going to be able to handle it. And, of course, the pressure mounted. All right? It mounted even more. Because after Rosario whacked a 2-run home run, that's when Joe Girardi realized he had to wake these guys up from the nightmare that they were having. Because the way that game started, it looked like the Minnesota Twins were going to be in charge all night long, whacking the ball all over the field. So Joe Girardi reaches for the hook. He's got the hook. New York's got the hook. If you can't perform, you get the hook in New York. Quick. And that's why I respect Girardi. He makes good decisions. And that showed, it was evident in the game last night that he was able to make another great decision. He went to his bullpen and he brought out Chad Green. All right. And Chad Green, he'd be able to deliver the pitches that were needed to close out the inning. So there was no more further damage. So that first inning was it was like watching a horse race with horses jockeying for position. It was pretty interesting to see how, Minnesota would come and just be ready to handle what was coming at them. They immediately started off with a 3-0 lead. So this is the flip side of this is Severino, after 6 batters, turns into a spectator. I mean, 6 batters. That's in the history of Yankees pitchers, is the quickest any pitchers ever got pulled in a playoff game. Just remember this, because I believe that now that Severino has had a taste, that he will now be ready for the challenges to come and the pressures to come. All right, but Chad Green got in there. He got the job done. He'd get those outs, and then you'd see later on you'd see Didi Gregorius crush one. All right. With batters on that would tie the game up 3-3. All right. And when Didi hit that ball, I mean, he got all of it. and everyone knew that ball was out of the park, immediately the place just erupted again because they had quieted down a little bit. Let me tell you, they were like, 3-0 that fast? These guys are for real. But Didi said, Here you go, guys. Let me turn that song back on for you. All right. And the people just went nuts. All right. That was great. I got to tell you, that was so exciting to see the Yankees hitting home runs and hits and being in playoffs and having a great time. They looked like they were having fun. And so that would tie the game up 3-3. Then you got Brett Gardner. He'd hit a home run to right field. That'd give the Yankees a lead of 3-4. That was like after the second inning. And then Santana kind of proved that he didn't really have anything for the Yankees lineup last night. He wasn't an answer for them. The Yankees barely missed a double play, believe it or not, after a ground ball from was it Buxton, which allowed Polanco to score for them, which would tie the game up at 4-4. And then the Twins, Jason Castro, he'd leave a couple teammates on base, but Roberson would come in. He would get the phone call next, and he'd answer the call to relieve the team. He'd get the job done just like Green did. That was the top of the third. And then the Twins dugout would pass the ball over to Jose Barrios. And he would toe the line for the Twins in the bottom of the third. Bottom of the third. And Greg Bird, he'd sling a base hit to right field, which would bring in Sanchez, and that would give the Yankees a 4-5 lead. So then you had Jose Barrios. He would see the game start to slip away at this point. And you had this was in the result of the electric Aaron Judge's coming out party. That's what I like to call it. He'd bring his bat and his hard hat. Let me tell you, he was ready to play last night. It looked like that kid didn't even get any sleep last night. He looked like his eyes, he was in the dark just looking up at the ceiling thinking about how he was going to play the next day. And he did it. He played great last night. Let me tell you, this kid's going to be awesome. He played a great game last night. He would hit a home run that would bring in Brett Gardner. He would bring in Brett Gardner for his first postseason home run. That was out to left field. That would extend the Yankees' lead to 4-7. So the lead would be 7-4, and the Yankees would they put up another run later on in the game that would make the score 8-4, and then that would set the stage for Chapman to come in, handle his business. And now we can talk about, as the Yankees head into the game tomorrow, they're going to be facing a hot Cleveland Indians team. So make sure you tune into the show tomorrow, as we're going to review the first game one of the Yankees versus the Cleveland Indians. It's going to be a very exciting series. This is going to start the quest of the New York Yankees chasing after World Series number 28. So again, I'm Jason Gunn. I'm your host. I'll be signing off of the show, but please make sure you download the show on iTunes. And once you've downloaded and you've listened, make sure you do a review. Those are very critical and important to the success of the show. And it's the only way that we can get better is through the reviews of our listeners. And we appreciate you very much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay tuned.
Truth is, true shit. Scared of my power, I didn't do shit. Out of sight, out of mind, I'm elusive. Truth seems getting in the way. The more I understand, the more I run away. This can't be life.
Thanks for listening to the Melted Pot Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Gunn. We're signing off. Make sure you download so that you can catch us on the next episode. #stay tuned.